All right, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Straight Manslaughter. I'm here with my boy, the Ultimate Fighter. You can find him on PS5. We're here to talk about Tekken today, how it's changed for progression, degression, different characters, and what's going on with the basic fundamentals of the game. The whole Tekken series as a whole has been a long-running series for quite some time now, from Tekken 1 to all the way up to Tekken 8. But we cannot forget the ones that were in between, like Tekken Tag 1 and 2, and other games that they may have created. However, that goes. It's been pretty good. They've had some buffs to some characters since the release and some nerfs to characters. Not only are there rage arts, which allows you to come back with a form of a super move or some sort once your health gets low enough to a certain level, it activates. Now there's heat, which is a second kind of super move and also like a power up type thing. The heat allows you to do things like inflict chip damage, do a heat dash, and extra set of moves as well. We're here to talk about that and what's the differences between character add-ons, likes and dislikes from the newest installment of Tekken 8. I want to welcome my guest today, Mr. Geo himself, the Ultimate Fighter. Look for him on PS5. If you guys really want a great challenge and want some competition, this is the guy to look for. He's been playing for a long time. He knows a lot and will give you some great competition. So the first question I wanted to ask you, what is it that you like about this new game versus the last installment with Tekken 7? What is it that you like? And then I'm going to ask you about the dislikes after that.
Okay, so as far as the likes, they did add a few, new characters. Uh, Most of them they look pretty cool. They play pretty good, but most of them are overpowered though.
Oh yeah, agreed. Very much
Overpowered
agreed.
against the legendary characters.
Okay.
They're overpowered. They need to be toned down a little bit.
Agreed. Agreed.
Their combo damage is ridiculous. Especially when they go into heat.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get somebody in the corner, there's not much you can do. If you try to sidestep, you get hit.
Mm-hmm.
If you duck, you get hit. If you try to power crush, you still get hit. And it's just it's too much.
Would you agree or disagree? I kind of like really like this about it, but it's not all about the look. So what I wanted to put out there is the graphics. Now the graphics in this one, they use Unreal Engine 5. They actually took this to the next level with muscle definition, sweat, water splashes, stage breaks, and what was the other one? Well, anyway, they actually toned the graphics up. How does that compare with the other Tekkens, in your opinion?
Yeah, to me, the graphics in this one seem pretty cool. But when I first started to play Tekken 8, it reminded me of like a cartoon.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, it reminded me of cartoonish versus Tekken 7 because when they would do like the rage arts and it would go in the animation and it would show them doing it, it kind of reminded me of like Street Fighter a little bit.
Interesting.
It looked at like cartoony
Okay.
versus it had the definition, but Tekken 7 looked I don't know, to me it looked at like more realistic.
That's interesting. That's
Yeah.
very, very interesting. So
No.
what would be considered a problem for you as far as Tekken 8, as far as the gameplay in this one? Because remember, of all the new stuff that they added, they didn't add too many things, but the things that they added, what is the like a problem for you as a pro player?
Well, I mean, in the beginning, the heat system to me it seemed like it seemed a lot different than in Tekken 7 because all they had was rage art, rage drives, and power crushes.
Okay.
In this one, they got all three that I mentioned, plus they got a heat system, where you got heat engagers, heat burst, heat smashes,
Mm-hmm.
and you gotta try to figure out what works with what. If somebody's in the middle of doing a heat engager, what can I do to evade it or counter it? You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
some moves don't work with against those moves. So it's kind of confusing. It's like, in Tekken it's always been like there's always a counter for a counter or a reversal for a reversal.
Right.
Like if King tackles you to the ground and he's gonna break your arm, you can you can try to evade it by pushing certain buttons.
Right.
But with some of these heat smashes, you can't really do much.
Right.
If you hit a button or jab or whatever, it's gonna take like a lot of damage.
Right.
So just gotta try to figure out what is gonna get you out of that situation.
Yeah, and
And
for those who's listening, he's talking about the counters to throws. Like if King's tackling you, and he presses, the punch, whatever punch button he start, because you could start with either one when you're drilling. You hit that, you're able to block that punch and kick him off of you. Or if he tries to break your arm, you can actually roll out of it. So it's counters for those type of activities. And Murdoch was the same way. Remember when he tackles you, you can actually press that button and kick him up off you too. Remember that?
yeah, yeah. With Marduk, there's ways to try to get out of it.
Mm-hmm. So I want to talk about something that's very, very controversial amongst players in Tekken 8. I want to talk about crossplay. Now, here we go with this misconception of there are a lot of price tags that come with crossplay, like more cheaters and stuff like that. In your opinion, give me how you feel about cross-playing with PC players. Your PS5. How do you feel about cross-play with Xbox and PC players? Give it to me.
Okay, so when
Here it comes.
whenever I run into Xbox players or PlayStation 5 players, it's pretty much on an even playing field.
Mm-hmm.
But I have come across some PC players that they have some type of hack in there where you can be not even close to the person. You hit a jab and they're ducking automatically.
I've seen it too.
They're ducking automatically, or if you try to grab them, it's an automatic break on it.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you go low, they automatically low parry you and
Mm-hmm.
juggle you. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of. That's why I don't like to play crossplay right now because it's risky, especially if you're playing rank
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and you're playing somebody on PC and you're on a PlayStation. They got the upper hand.
So yeah,
You
just
know.
to cater to that, I actually ran into a guy today. I was playing with Law, and I can't remember who he was playing with, but the match seemed to be kind of crisp. I'm on PC for anybody who want to know. He was on PC as well. The match seemed to be kind of crispy the first, maybe second, two, three, but I noticed that he was ducking a lot when I was hitting right punch or left punch. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is going on here? So, so I started to use a lot of mid moves. Like I would start abusing it. When I started abusing it, I noticed that he would just duck. And when he did, I kept catching him with those mid moves. I said to myself, you know what? I hate spamming moves. I hate when people spam moves. But in order to compete with a cheater, that's what the hell you gotta do.
Yeah, you gotta kind of adjust for what they're doing.
Yeah, it's a shame that in the spirit of competition, we all go out there. If you're better than me, you're better than me. I can take an ass whooping. It's a lot of people that can take an ass whooping, but there are some people that will do anything to get the edge over you in these
Yeah,
games.
that's true. Yeah,
And then you're using them in rank. Come on, bro.
yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, and not only that, they're playing with characters, like Victor or Azucena. Those characters are already overpowered,
Mm-hmm.
and you add the cheating on top of that, you already got the upper hand using that character.
And don't
You
forget,
know?
these are new characters, so we don't know what the heck. We're not used to playing with them.
Yeah,
Playing
we're not used
against
to
them. I'm
playing
sorry.
against them. Yeah.
Right. And that brings me to my next question. This is the question that's directed towards you, man. So the new characters that's introduced to the game are Victor Chevalier, Azucena, and Reina. Do you think these characters are ripoffs of old characters? Who do you think they are ripoffs of?
I I I don't know if they're ripoffs, but they're similar.
Okay,
They
similar.
have similarities. Like for example, Azucena, she reminds me of a mixture between
And,
Josie
and Lucky Chloe.
and Lucky Chloe.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, she has this evading stance
Yes.
that evades the limbs. If you throw out a left jab, a right jab,
Mm-hmm.
a kick, a regular,
Mm-hmm.
regular 4 or 3 kick, even grabs,
Yeah.
it evades and you can punish people.
The only thing from the research that I did, okay, I may be wrong. The people can put them in the comments. They could do whatever they want. But from the research I did with this new character Azucena, if you go into that stance, which is called Liberator, if you go into the stance, I do believe yes, you can evade the throws, but it's mostly high moves and low moves. You can
Yeah,
punish
highs
her.
and lows.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can definitely punish her if she goes into that stance and she doesn't do, because she has a what do you call that? She has a power crush in that stance. So if you do a mid move quick enough to where it's faster than her power crush, which is a high kick, you can actually punish her and not worry about that evasion.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, well, see,
I
some
didn't-
stuff and versus me. So,
yeah.
let's talk about Victor. Who do you think that he has similarities, like your word, similarities to? I can't.
Victor reminds me of a Noctis from Tekken 7.
Ah.
Noctis from Final Fantasy, wherever he came from.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the cheapest characters that ever came out in Tekken
Yes.
7.
Why is that? Tell us why.
Well, I mean, Noctis or Victor?
Uh, Victor. I'm sorry,
Well,
Noctis. Start with Noctis first.
Noctis in Tekken 7, he had a variety of, moves that had so much advantage, so much reach, so much, frame advantage,
Mm-hmm.
reach. Uh, he can throw his sword at you from across the screen.
Oh wow.
He has a reversal for punches that you can set people up to, you know, when it's their turn to counter you, and he does the reversal, it's just like an automatic counter.
Mm-hmm.
kind of like Leroy. If you're doing a move with Leroy and it's your turn to counter and they're jabbing, you're gonna get reversed and punished.
Wow.
That's how Noctis was. Noctis, he had a lot of weird angles, weird moves, and he had the sword like Victor. Victor has a sword, he has a knife, and he has a
Hmm.
gun.
Now that knife that he does, because he does a lot of slicing with his knife, which is highs or whatever. Does that kind of remind you of Kasumi a little bit, or no? Or am I
Yeah,
mistaken?
yeah, he has exactly. I forgot about her. He actually has a mixture of Noctis slash Kazumi, or not Kazumi, Kunimitsu.
Kunomitsu. That's what I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, Kunimitsu, because yeah, it's
B-
Kunimitsu.
bless you. Yeah, in my opinion, it seems like now they're over. Now I did read somewhere that Jackie Chan himself knows over 50 different martial arts. If there are 50 different martial arts, they should not be running out of ideas like this. Come on now.
Yeah.
And plus,
But
before I go into that, before we go into the discussion of Reina, what I want to say was, no, you know what? Let me stick to the format because that's good questions that I'm gonna ask you later. We're gonna come back to that. So let's talk about Reina first. Do you
okay,
do you think that what's your overall view on her? Do you think she's a carbon copy of any
oh,
past characters or OP or what?
okay.
Yeah.
So my opinion about Reina is she has a combination between she has a style like Heihachi's, but at the same time she has moves similar to Lydia.
Here we go.
She has
Mm-hmm.
a Heihachi moves slash Lydia moves
Mm-hmm.
and a couple other character moves or whatever, but she has moves that are so like she has so many mix-ups, so many
Mm-hmm.
string combos that if you don't know how to block that stuff, I mean, one little move and you get caught with the rest of the combo.
Yes.
And she and another thing I wanted to bring up is the fact that some of these characters have like guard break moves as well
Yes. Yes.
that
Yes.
are almost unseeable.
Mm-hmm. And
And
the most time that people use them is when you get against a wall. That's when they try to use those guard
yeah,
breaks to hit you against the
that's when
wall.
they don't use them, they abuse them by the
Yes,
wall.
absolutely.
You know, Reina has one. I've seen Paul that has one.
Mm-hmm. Steve.
Steve has one,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a few other ones that can abuse that stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Um, you know, Shaheen actually has one, but you can see it when it's coming, and you can block. You can either you can duck it, or you can do a counter or whatever. But uh, the rest of them though, some of them is just like you're against the wall. It's pretty much over.
Absolutely.
You mix the guard break move with a heat smash or whatever, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the end of the round.
Right. So
You know?
let me ask you another question. This is, I'm asking these questions because, I read somewhere that, people have these things on their mind. So let me ask you, how do you feel about the way that they were bringing the seasonal characters to Tekken 8? Then you find out that those characters were like reputational characters. Like, for instance, we in the third one, I do believe the third season. So they brought back Eddie Gordo. They brought back Lydia, and then the last surprise, they brought back Heihachi. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
they're bringing back Heihachi. Yeah.
Right, right, right. So, how do you feel about them bringing those characters back in Tekken? I want you to go through all three. Well, we haven't seen Heihachi yet, but just give me
Yeah.
your opinion on how you feel about perhaps maybe gameplay that you have seen from these new characters, or just your overall opinion on them?
Yeah. Well, let me start with Eddie.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie is a character that has been in most of the Tekkens. I think he's been in most of them,
Right.
and and he's a legendary character. Like, I don't understand why the day of the release
Mm-hmm.
they wouldn't include him.
Right.
His style is different from everyone's.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's one of those characters that he's a legend, like a legacy character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why wouldn't they bring him from day one?
Right.
And then they release, the first character, and it happens to be him. Is like, you want, and you're already paying all this money for the game,
Mm-hmm.
and you want us to spend another $10 to play with a character that should have been in the game from the get-go.
Cash grab.
It's ridiculous.
Oh, Call of Duty is worse, believe me.
And I do like the new style of Eddie because he has a lot more to him. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I never bought him yet, but I fought him, and yeah, they added a lot of stuff to him.
Mm-hmm.
Where he has different, like, stances and evasion moves,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
But a character like that should have been on the on the game
Original
from
roster.
day one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It, it
he should have been on the release of the game.
I understand that, there's a pleasing of the crowd when it comes to DLC characters. So, yeah, when they announce, oh, it's going to be a season pass where there's going to be DLC characters, you get the crowd pumped for it. And, it's satisfaction on both ends. First of all, you get the crowd pumped for it. Second of all, you got you some money coming, correct? That's why you make DLC characters.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Eddie Gordo, after my research, he has been in Tekken since Tekken 3, and we're up to 8.
Yeah, Tekken 3. Yeah, exactly.
And we're all the way up
Mhm.
to 8. And that's excluding Tekken Tag 1 and 2. Okay?
Yeah.
So, I agree with you. He should have been on the main roster, and I love Tekken. You know what I'm saying. I've loved Tekken since Tekken 1. And Tekken 1 was blocky as shit. Like Virtual Fighter. But
Oh
see,
yeah, I remember. Yeah.
right. But that was a thing where we had it. We liked it for the time. You know what I'm saying. That was all that was available. It had simple fighting mechanics. We used to play it like crazy, right?
Yeah.
So all the way up to 8 now, well, we got these nice graphics. They done added some techniques here and there and stuff. They done put this in there, took this out, this and that. But it's still balancing issues. Would you or would you not agree?
Oh yeah, there's a big balancing issues, and they still haven't addressed it with certain characters.
Mm-hmm.
You got the bottom tier characters, like Shaheen and
Mm-hmm.
Panda Bear, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a few other ones, and it's like, some of the stuff is like, it needs to be addressed,
Yes, it does. Yeah.
and it's going on 5 months already since the game been out, and the top five characters, everybody's just been using those characters online. Every
Mm-hmm.
time I go online, I'm running into a Reina, a Victor, a
Mm-hmm.
Azucena,
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, it's a couple other ones, King,
Right.
Dragonov. Top five. Everybody's using those characters. Nobody wants to use any other characters because the rest of the cast, they don't have the, what do you call it? They don't have the strength to
Mm-hmm.
keep up with the top five characters.
Mm-hmm. Especially
You know,
Paul.
they don't they
Pause.
don't have they don't have the moves to keep up with him. It's like they're overpowered.
Especially Paul. I think Paul is one of the strongest characters in the game to me.
Oh yeah, he's always been a strong character.
Yeah, you know.
But in here, certain people, with certain moves,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really do much against them, especially if the stage has walls.
Yep. Agreed. Especially Brian. I
And
think who is the character to you? I already said Brian. That gives you the most trouble when it's walls.
well, I mean, with walls or without, the top five give me problems, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You got King, you got Dragunov, Victor, Reina, and Azucena. Those five right there alone are a handful if you're
Mm-hmm.
using a bottom tier character.
Right.
There's not much you can do against those characters.
Mm-hmm.
If you're using a Panda Bear or a Shaheen, or,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's so many other ones that you can't. There's a lot of characters that you don't even see online because they're not even worth playing with.
Who would you consider to be the cheapest character in Tekken 8 overall?
The cheapest?
Yes.
It's hard to say because, you know, King is up there
Mm-hmm.
because every little move he does turns into a grab
Mm-hmm.
or a air juggle.
Mm-hmm.
He's got moves that he's got heat moves that go into a grab, or
Mm-hmm.
or
Mm-hmm.
counter moves that automatically it takes a lot of damage. Like the King in Tekken 7 compared to the King in Tekken 8 is like apples and oranges.
Yeah, buddy.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
King was strong in Tekken 7, but in this game,
He's unbelievable.
it's
Overpowered.
overpowered. I mean, he has so many advantages. I mean, they gave him so much.
Mm-hmm.
And they gave him so much on top of the multi throws that he has that already takes 75, 80 damage already.
Right.
And he's got moves that he can run through your attacks and do a wrestling move on you or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
That RKO. I know exactly what you.
RKO, or
Yeah.
he's got grabs that go into other grabs.
Mm-hmm.
It's insane.
I think for me, it's two main characters that give me a real headache. Reina used to be up there, but I can pretty much handle her now. I know what to do. But the two that's a pain in the ass to me, I think King is one of them, but overall, Yoshimitsu is a
Oh,
fucking
I
problem.
forgot about him.
Man,
Yeah.
he is a fucking problem. Oh my God,
Yeah.
man. You get a good Yoshimitsu player, you talking about a problem? Man, he's got a thing where he goes in that stance where he hovers. He's already in a frame advantage. He can throw you or he can hit you with that thing that hits you up. Like it's like a launcher. And then
Yeah.
once he gets his then he's got this ridiculous low that you can't block with the sword. It's ridiculous. What the hell? Balance problems. Jesus.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yoshimitsu is he like, and he has so much range too.
Yeah, he does.
He has all the tools. I mean, a matter of fact, if you look at his command list, I think Yoshimitsu has the most moves in the game.
I believe you.
Yoshimitsu has got to have at least 150 to 200 moves in this game.
And
Like,
that's ridiculous.
and if you get close to the wall, it's almost impossible to get out of there if you're
Mm-hmm.
fighting a Yoshimitsu with certain characters.
Mm-hmm.
If you're using one of them top 5 characters, you might be able to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're using somebody that, in the bottom tier,
Uh-huh.
you're just gonna get beat up in the corner.
Man, yeah, I honestly think that, in the right hands, because I've seen the gameplay from for Yoshimitsu, and it's insane with a top guy. Um, he's the problem for me. I will say that. So I want to get this one question out here, and I'm gonna ask you directly. As far as the
Okay.
ranking system goes, is Tekken 8 more challenging to go through than Tekken 7 was? As far as the ranking system goes.
The ranking system on this one, it has its pros and cons.
Okay.
Okay, because in Tekken 7, depending on what rank you were, sometimes it would take forever to rank up. But in this one, it seems when you get to a certain level, like around, I think when you get to Bushin,
Okay.
that's like one rank below Tekken King.
Right.
Once you hit Bushin and
Mm-hmm.
you start beating higher ranks than you, or maybe one rank below you, or even the same rank,
Mm-hmm.
you only get like 400 or 500 points. But if you lose, you
Mm-hmm.
lose like 1,000.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And I mean, I've gotten that rank so many times, and then as soon as I get it, I just get demoted because it's like I'm beating all these guys, and then all of a sudden somebody come out of nowhere and they win one time and they take double the points that I would get if I won. I don't think that's fair.
I don't either. I think the ranking system up here, on this one is very, it's very I didn't play 7 all like that, but I seen how that goes. It's very hard to rank up in this particular Tekken series. I'm sorry, I just got to say it. It's very hard to rank up. You lose a match by the skin of your teeth. Your points are just dramatically taken away from you, and then next
Yeah,
thing you
they're
know, you
gone.
deranked. Yeah. So
Yeah, it's crazy.
I really, really, this one, no, 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 no. This one is kind of difficult. So let me ask the last question, and then you can feel free to, you know, um, say anything that you got to say. So I'm gonna ask you this directly. Who would you like to see coming back in Tekken, and why? I already know the answer. I already know.
Well, I have a few people in mind for in my opinion that should
Mm,
come back, or at least have a shot at coming back.
okay.
I mean, personally, I was a big fan of Marduk,
Here you go.
Gigas. I know a lot of people didn't like Gigas,
Mm-hmm.
but he was there's a word for it.
Different, unique.
He was unique, but he just needed a few more strings,
Mm-hmm.
a few more mix ups, maybe a couple of more homing moves,
Mm-hmm.
because the homing move he did have in Tekken 7 was not safe.
Oh wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Because he only had one.
Right.
Everyone else had a handful of homing moves that gave them the advantage. Some were safe, some were not safe.
Mm-hmm.
Gigas, it's like he was incomplete.
Yeah.
It's like they gave up on him. I love the whole idea of you can he had charge moves
Yeah.
where you
Yeah.
can charge up and you'd get a 50-50 out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he was a great character. I had fun using him. And they should have maybe brought him back,
Mm-hmm.
or at least if they didn't bring him back, give some of his moves to another character that they could have used.
Right.
You know, uh, they should have brought back Miguel,
Yeah.
because Miguel, he was a great character.
Mm-hmm.
He was a good character until Tekken 7, because he was he had good power, but
Shit, yeah.
they gave him T-Rex arms.
Mm-hmm.
They, his reach, even though the character himself was tall, but his jabs. Sometimes I'd be using Miguel in Tekken 7, and when it's your turn to punish with a 1-2, it would
Mm-hmm.
miss,
Yep.
and it's like, what is that? Like,
So the range of
but
his punches sucked.
yeah, the range for his jabs were
Mm-hmm.
terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But he had a lot of mix-up moves. He was a great character. He reminded me of Bake.
Oh yeah.
That's another character that they should bring back.
So
Bake had a lot of mix-ups as well.
yeah, and before they toned him down, because they toned him down, especially his overhand to where he hits you with both his hands, it would bounce you. They changed it where he would do it and it would just put you in a crouching state. That really pissed me off because that move was one of the moves where it started one of his combos. Remember the one we seen the dude do? The
Oh
one
yeah.
yeah, where he did that overhand two hands and he would bounce you in the air and he would jab jab knee jab jab knee and then it was just a sweet looking combo, but they changed it. I don't know why, probably because everybody was complaining about shit, but I mean it is what it is. So is that the only characters you would want to come back?
Uh, I don't know. Did I mention Marduk?
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah,
But you didn't
Marduk.
mention why though.
Oh yeah. Well, Marduk. I mean, come on. They introduced Marduk in Tekken 4,
Right.
and from the moment I saw him being used, I'm like, man,
Mm-hmm.
he has such a different style than everybody else.
Valor di Tudo.
They gave him like an MMA type
Mm-hmm.
style. Like nobody else fights like that. I mean,
Val-
you do have a wrestler with King and
mm-hmm.
Armor King,
Mm-hmm.
but Marduk was just like, he was just raw. He
Yep.
was he didn't have many mix-ups,
Mm-hmm.
but he was just a good character,
Mm-hmm.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
And some people couldn't handle Marduk,
Yeah, buddy. I see some of
you
the
know.
top players in tournaments with Tekken 7. I see them playing with Murdoch.
Oh yeah.
They was giving heat and a hard time to people that were playing cheaper characters like Noctis and others. It was just crazy. Marduk is like, I think he's a complete guy, even though you said
Oh
that his mix ups ain't that great. But he has a lot of moves where he can go up under things, believe it or not, with the tackle, with that two-handed launcher he used to do. Remember that?
yeah.
And that
Hmm.
damn reverse kick that he did would knock you across the screen. That shit took so much power, bro.
Yeah. That move, they actually took it out after, what was it, Tekken 5 or 4, one of them.
And he's the only character in the game where his tackle is a 360-degree guessing game because it's either right punch, left punch, or both. And then on top of that, he can what do you call that when you fake your right and go left on when he's sitting
Yeah,
on
yeah.
top of you?
Yeah, you can fake the punch,
Mm-hmm.
but with Marduk and Tekken 7,
Mm-hmm.
instead of having a 50-50 with the tackle,
Right.
once he gets on top of you, it was kind of like, instead of 50-50, it was like put in the thirds,
Yeah.
because you could either go with the left punch, the right punch, or you can come with the two punches at the same time and come from the middle. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like, it was a real guessing game.
And not only
If
that, I don't
if
know
you
if you
got
remember
tackled.
this. Do you remember when you kick Murdoch off of you, he can grab your leg and break it?
Yeah, on Tekken 4, I think.
Yeah, did they ever keep that in 7? Did they keep that?
No, they
Oh,
didn't
why did
take
they
that.
take that out? That was off the hook. I liked it that. But
Yeah, that they took it out.
I
Yeah,
I think that they probably did that perhaps to, because it was like what do you do when you kick them off of you? It's unfair.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
But with Marduk, he didn't have many low moves, And a lot of people complain that, oh, he was overpowered. He was not overpowered. I think he was well balanced
Yeah.
because his lows were trash.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
Predictable.
mean, his lows, you could see them coming from a mile away. He
Absolutely.
didn't have many lows. I mean, he had a low that would come out of the tackle stance, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever you call it, the
It's like a sweep.
what was it, Valetudo stance or whatever,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
VTS stance.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit him with that low, it only took like 30 damage.
Mm-hmm.
But if you blocked it, it was launch punishable.
Yeah, buddy.
And what I didn't understand was that low, if it was launch punishable, it should have took more damage actually.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, but if you got close to the wall and you did that near a wall, you would get like extra hits for free
Mm-hmm.
if you did it by a wall. But if you were out in the open, it's only like 30 damage for that low. And if you get blocked, you get launched,
Mm-hmm.
So, the a lot of people complain about him, but you know what? He didn't have many lows.
Right.
And he wasn't like fast either. He was
Mm-hmm.
a slow, character.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he was fine. The way they had him, it was fine. A lot of people complained about him. Oh, he was overpowered, but no. Everybody else has a hell sweep or
Mm-hmm.
a snake edge, like
Mm-hmm.
like Brian or Lily,
Or Law, he got that
or
dragon's
or
tail or whatever you
right,
call it.
Law. There's a few characters that have moves like that. Marduk
Mm-hmm.
didn't have any of that stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Marduk. I hope they bring him back. Him or Gigas.
Well,
But yeah,
you,
definitely Miguel. You know.
well, one thing I learned about this Tekken particular, it doesn't matter what character they actually have on the board that they kind of emulated from another character. It seems to me they bring characters back. So there is a chance, even though they've giving, like for instance, Jack has a lot of, not a lot, but some of Gigas's moves, right? With the throw and out of the stance, he does. You there? Yeah. So yeah, like I was saying with Jack, they have he has like some of Gigas's moves, but regardless to that, even though um Reina reminds you of Lydia, they brought her back, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
it is a possibility they could bring Gigas back, even though they gave some of his moves to Jack. So there might actually be, and you could tell by the way you have Gigas on the screen that that's one of your favorite characters. so
Yeah.
yeah. One thing I'm gonna bring up and then we're gonna shut it down. Is I'm not exactly tied to the series as much as Geo is, but I got to say one of the most irritating fucking things about Tekken that they put in there was the bound. When I first went through that shit and I kept getting hit, I put down the fucking controller. I really did. You talking about gamer rage? I totally had gamer rage. What do you feel about the bound? Do you think that that was a necessary attachment?
Well, I think they added the bounding stuff. I think in what was it, Tekken
I think
5 or 6?
it had to be 5.
Yeah, I think it was 5. Well, I, yeah, I think it was 5 or 6. When they
Mm-hmm.
added it, it was like kind of like, man, what is this?
Right.
Like I see people getting extra damage for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, does everybody have a bound?
Mm-hmm.
And slowly but surely found out that yeah, everybody had a bound move.
Yeah. Eh,
And once you adjust yourself to learn that stuff,
mm-hmm.
it kind of works to everybody's favor,
Right.
you know.
And honestly, when it came to it, it was something I had to get used to in this one because I wasn't used to it in 7. I ain't gonna lie, I kind of gave up on 7. I really did. But on this one, you start to understand how many moves you could put together as far as combos when it comes to the bounding them off the ground. Because I was used to 1 through 4, where you would what they call it, Yukimi. Is that how you pronounce it?
Oh, they Okazemi
Okazemi.
or
Okay.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, you could like take roll, as soon as you hit the ground, boom, you can just roll over. You know what I'm saying? And then the fight is, your defense is back on. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if you're getting bound, they could just keep hitting you, and once you get to the wall, you can even get wall splatted.
Oh yeah.
So Tekken has actually evolved. The way you look at it can either be for the good or for the bad. However that go, for the people that's out there that don't know anything about this series, it's really fun once you get to know how to do it. This one tends to lean towards stances. All the characters basically got a stance,
Yeah.
So, all right, we're gonna wrap it up for this edition. I want to thank my boy Ultimate Fighter, Gio. You guys come and see him if you want some good competition. PS5 Ultimate Fighter is spelled right up there. All right, man. I want to get with you later, man. Thanks for being on the show. Hopefully, we could get another Tekken talk going about different things, especially when the new DLC character, Heihachi, come out.
Right. Yeah, and thanks for having me on the show, man.
All right, brother. I'm gonna get with you. Have a good time, man.
All right.
Like,
Peace
share,
out.
subscribe, y'all.
All right.
If you like the video, hit that like, share, subscribe button. Also, hit that notification bell just so you will know exactly when I drop another video.
Your game is over.